I want to help you get through what for some is one of the most challenging times in living memory. Now, I want you to stay for this one. It's not going to be long. But I want to give you some keys on how to survive through COVID, how to win the battle. Firstly, there are people saying it's hard. We know that. People are saying it's not easy. We know that. Some people have lost their businesses. Churches have not all been able to meet. Some are still not meeting. Various different countries where COVID has almost taken over the country. In this country of Australia, we see Victoria going through a real catastrophe down there. And then right up the top here in Queensland, where I live, we see, well, it's almost gone. The fear of people being, of it coming back. New Zealand declaring it's all gone, and then boop, it's back again. We're living in an environment where domestic violence is on the increase. Child abuse, which makes me very angry, is on the increase. Alcoholism, all this sort of thing. First and foremost, I want to say this to you, and I want you to get it right through into your head and into your heart. You are in a battle. You're in a battle. Now, people that go into war zones, the first thing they realize when they're sent out is this is not going to be home anymore. They're going to do their best, but they're entering a war zone. When you enter a war zone, you've got to think differently. It's not easy, it's hard. Stop it. 2 words, stop it. We've got to get a handle on our thinking, on our mind. The following is because I know what it is to go through a whole lot of battles. I'm just slightly over the voting age, all right? I've learned a few things. And what I want to talk to you about now, I hope will become a survival kit, your battle plan to make it through, to win the battle over COVID. Okay, let's get going. Until you realize that you are in a battle, right? It's not normal life anymore. Until you realize that and come to grips with it, you are at risk of psychological breakdown, relationship breakdown, and health breakdown. Things are going wrong in different people's lives. We get it, right? It's a global issue. That's not to take the importance away from you, but it is to understand this is a battle. A dear friend of mine, a very, very, very dear friend of mine, recently rang me up. And this person said they had a brain tumor. The first words I said to my dear friend was, I want you to listen to me. You've just entered a battle zone. I'm going to walk with you. We're going to walk this one through together. You've entered, as it were, a tunnel. There's no way out of this thing. You've got to go through it. I'm going to walk with you. We're going to walk this thing through together. You can imagine. Doctor says you've got a brain tumor. How do you feel? What are you going to do? All these sort of stories happen every day. And so we discussed a battle plan together. The first thing is you're not wasting your time right now. If you're in isolation or you have to change your lifestyle, number one, you are not wasting your time. Why? You're in a battle. When a soldier goes into battle, they could be thinking, well, man, I could be at home. I could be playing footy. I could be playing tennis. I could be going, no. They're in a battle. No. You're not wasting your time. You've entered a war zone that you've got to win now. Because you've got to win this thing psychologically. You've got to win this thing relationally, right? Yeah, sure. There will be people come along and say, look, you're going to learn a lot of lessons out of this. Okay, so be it. But the truth is, you've got to come out of this thing. Now, yes, you'll come out of it stronger. You will have come out of it in a way that you have learned a lot. But number one, you're not wasting your time. Get that right through. Number two, focus on today. It's so important to focus on today. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, right? This thing's like a moving target. Don't focus in on next year or the year after. Focus in on today. I want you to recognize that you cannot change what you can't control. Okay? You cannot change what you can't control. People out there, makes me cranky, declaring their rights not to wear a mask. Well, good on you. Because if you're that person, I'm just going to say it bluntly, shame on you. Shame on you. Because to be frank with you, when you take your right, you're also removing mine. All right? When people start declaring their rights, and we've got to be so careful with this, right? You got the right to be sensible. You got the right to manage yourself. We all have that right. I was disgusted at some churches, not so much in this country, in Australia. Some churches have said, we have the right to meet. Yes, you've also got the right to protect your community, all right? It's not an embarrassing thing to abide by the law. In fact, God expects you to. Now, you know, we can get into a disagreement and an argument, a discourse on putting God first. If God is first in your heart, and He is the center of your heart, then what you'll realize, my friend, is that by you taking on your right, you are removing the right of somebody else. Now that's another discussion for another day, but let that get into you, right? Focus in on today. You cannot change what you cannot control. Go with it. Go with it. I don't actually enjoy fishing all that much, but I've been fishing a number of times with mates of mine, and sometimes when the fish bites, I think, oh, what a waste of time that is. Here, we've got to reel this thing in now. I prefer to sit there and talk. So I go there for the discussion. But this is what I know. There's a couple of times I had a big fish on the line, and the line wasn't really strong enough. And so a mate of mine who knew how to fish, he said, go with the fish. Let the fish have its way. It'll wear itself out. And sometimes you just got to go with something, all right? Stop trying to fight it now. You can't change what you can't control. Number 4 on our list, be wise who and what you blame. It just seems to me that people try to blame things, right? They're trying to find a reason why this exists. And, when a man or a woman goes into the battle zone, into an actual war, they're a soldier. Right. This is not about the blame game. They have their mission. They've been given their assignment, and now they've got to follow through. And that's just the way it is. Right? You got to do the small things. Almost every soldier I've ever talked to, I've asked this question. Why do they ask you to polish your shoes so they look all nice and new, and then you go out into the battle? Every soldier has said this to me, everyone. If I don't polish, they teach you this. If you can't polish your shoes, you won't be able to pull the trigger. It's all about discipline, isn't it? It really is. So, we got to stop trying to find the blame game, and go with it. So be wise who we blame. Well, is it this country or that country? Is it the mark of the beast? Oh, for goodness sake, can we just get over all that sort of stuff? This is a pandemic, and it won't be the last. It has not been the first, and there'll be difference. You can use these articles of battle that I'm giving you now for all sorts of situations. What are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guard your self-talk. Surveys that I've read on this subject say that 85% of people's self-talk is negative. That's the talk you have in here that nobody else can hear, right? That you're probably pretty glad not everybody can hear. Having said that, we've got to guard that self-talk. If 85% of the population have negative self-talk, then it's no wonder people panicked when this thing happened. You know, I think that had there been a leader on the Titanic, a true leader, more people would have been saved. But there was panic. You know, when a fire is burning down, everyone loves the firemen when they turn up, because the first thing they don't do is they don't panic, right? They have their mission, they've been given their orders, they know what to do. Guard your self-talk. Replace negative self-talk with something good. Discipline. It's being intentional. I'm going to get through this battle now. I've got no choice. I can't look to the left. I can't look to the right. I'm going to get through this thing. This is a tunnel I've entered. I've got to get through it. I'm going to get through this thing. Where are we up to? I think it's number 6. Stop catastrophic thinking. Catastrophic thinking is probably best understood. You've got, 4 roads all meeting in the middle. All right, you've got 4 cars on those roads, and they're all going to meet them. If somebody doesn't give way, there's going to be a crash. They're all going to collide. Someone's got to stop. Got to stop the catastrophic thinking. All right, and this all requires discipline. Catastrophic thinking induces worry and depression, and so people are getting depressed, and it's because the depression didn't start the problem the way they were thinking. Guarding our self-talk, guarding the way we think, replacing it, not just guarding it, but replacing it. Deliberately, intentionally creating a way of thinking, right? It's going to require habits, new habits sometimes, right? It's going to require perhaps that you create a routine of how you start the day. And I believe that's a good idea for all of us, which can be applied in all sorts of things. I want to say this to you. If you have lost a business or about to, or something already has gone catastrophically wrong in your life, every adversity has the seed within it to an equivalent benefit. There is, in every adversity, there is something there, a seed. And I want to tell you something, look for the seeds. Look for the seeds of life, look for them, right? A seed mentality. When you have a seed mentality, then you have the stuff of life. Farmers understand that. They plant a seed today, they get a harvest tomorrow. A seed is the only evidence that you're expecting something from your future. That's the truth of it. Right, so we plant those seeds, we look for those seeds. Every adversity has the seed within it to an equivalent benefit. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35, we read, "Therefore do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you will receive the promise." Now we can read that into all sorts of situations. Do not cast it. Sometimes we voluntarily cast away our confidence. Keep your confidence. Keep your anchors. Start to remind each other of good things. Husbands and wives, spend a few minutes a day reminding each other. This requires discipline. Look, at the end of the day, so many problems become worse because fundamentally people are too lazy to apply discipline. Imagine a soldier going into battle. The troops are all lined up and one of them says, "Excuse me, I forgot my gun." They polish their shoes so they don't forget the gun. We can't forget these things. Okay. Sometimes people analyze the life out of absolutely everything, right? It doesn't matter I know some people who, they could go to a theme park and have a lovely day or go for a nature walk and have a beautiful time. Everybody else is having a beautiful time, but they're finding something wrong in it, or they're analyzing the life out of it. Now we can do that not just for a good time, but a difficult time. People, yes, we can do the whole character thing. You're going to grow in character, but that's not what I wanted to address today. And I believe that's true. I believe that, we persevere and we produce character. That's true. But, there are times people don't want to hear that. What they need to do is hear what we're what they're needing is to hear this sort of stuff. Because yes, you're going to persevere and you're going to develop character. I love the words of Psalm 23, and I'd like you to consider these words as I read them out to you. I want you to remember, friends, this is a war zone. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, well, pretty much my favorite of all that I send to people, is in John 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not that the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You know, Jesus goes on to say, I would not have told you this if it were not so. Peace I leave with you. Receive it. Some people just, you know, it's like throwing a tennis ball against a brick wall. You say, you know, some people wake up and say, good morning, Lord, and others say, good Lord, it's morning. It's a state of mind. So much of this is a state of mind. I want you to remember this. You're in a war zone. You're in a battle zone. If you neglect that, if you forget that, you're going to be caught unawares. You don't know what will happen in your town, in your city, whether there'll be another lockdown or what's going to happen. We don't know. I often say to people, I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. Praise God. And I've been given this right to control myself, to have a sound mind and to manage me, right? I might not be able to control everybody else, but I can control myself, and I should. I love the words of Psalm 23, and although I've been a bit hard on this one, I believe it's important because I believe it's the stuff of survival. And, you know, it's not just how you start, it's how you finish. It's deciding today, I am going to make it through this thing. And if I've lost something already, I'll rebuild, I'll recreate. What happens to a couple? They get home and their house is burnt down. It's horrible, right? We hear these things all the time: volcanoes, earthquakes, tidal waves, COVID-19. When we are thrust into a battle, sometimes we are taken into these things without, you know, we didn't even start. It's not our fault. Don't try to find fault in everything. Stop trying to find the blame or in somebody or because of the situation you're in. I'd like you to receive something now. Psalm 23 is one of the most famous passages in the entire Bible, and it's famous for a good reason. It's been read in battle zones, it's been read in funerals, it's been read by people who just need to receive peace today. Now you receive peace. Consider John chapter 14. Peace I leave with you, but also receive these words. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Let's win the battle. Let's take on a battle plan. Let's receive peace. Let's encourage and love our neighbor. And let's get through this thing better than when we started.